Hello friends, a very good afternoon to all the students. Am I audible to all? Okay, fine. Thank you for sharing your response. So dear friends, if you remember, in the last session, we have started the discussion of the unit 11 that consists of the couplings, clutches and brakes. And friends, in the last session, we have completed the discussion of the first part of this unit. We have completed the discussion of the couplings. And in the couplings, we have seen the basic concepts of the shaft couplings. Then we have understood the different purposes or the objectives of using the shaft couplings. Then we have understood the classification of the couplings. Mainly they are classified into two types, the rigid couplings and the flexible couplings. And in the rigid couplings, we have understood the different types. And similarly, for the flexible couplings, we have understood the different types of the flexible couplings. So friends, now let us proceed further and understand the second part of this unit, that is the clutches. So in the clutches, these are the main contents of the current session. Firstly, we will be understanding the basic concepts about the clutches. Then we will understand what is the necessity of clutch in an automobile. Moving further, we will be understanding the classification of the clutches. And finally, we are going to understand the different mechanical clutches. So friends, let us start with the today's discussion related to the clutches. So a clutch is a mechanical device which engages and disengages the power transmission, especially from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. So basically the clutch is also a power transmitting device. But in this case, the power is transmitted according to the requirement between the driving shaft and the driven shaft. And the power is transmitted by the engagement and the disengagement of the clutch. So what do you mean by the engagement, disengagement, how the power is transmitted? All these important points we are going to understand in the current session. In the simplest application, the clutches connect and disconnect the two rotating shafts. The rotating shafts can be considered as the drive shafts, or they can also be considered as the line shafts. If we consider the simple construction of the clutch, one shaft of the clutch is typically attached to an engine or the power unit. So that shaft is considered as the driving member, while the other shaft, that is the driven member, provides the output power for doing the mechanical work. So this is the basic understanding of the clutches. Let me repeat the definition once again so that the concept is perfectly clear in your minds. A clutch is a mechanical device which engages and disengages the power transmission, especially from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. Let us now understand the necessity of the clutch in an automobile. Remember friends, for every automobile, the clutch is very important. So let us now understand why the clutch is so much important. What is the necessity of the clutch in an automobile? So in the automobile, as you are aware that a gearbox is required to change the speed and the torque of the vehicle according to the driving requirements. When we want to increase the speed of the automobile, we are increasing the gears, shifting the gears. And when we want to decrease the speed of the automobile, again we are shifting the gears and reducing the speed. Now comes the important point. If we change the gear, when the engine is engaged with the gearbox, or when the gears are in the running position, then in both the cases, it can cause the wear and tear of the gears. In simple, the failure of the gears. It is an important point, so I am repeating this point once again, so you concentrate. So if we change a gear when the engine is engaged with the gearbox, or when the gears are in the running position, then it can cause the wear and tear of the gears. To overcome this problem, we are using a mechanical device between the gearbox and the engine. And this mechanical device is known as the clutch. Let us proceed further and now understand some of the other important points. So the clutch is the first element of the powertrain. The main function of the clutch is to engage and disengage the engine to the transmission system when the driver needs or during the shifting of the gears. So the clutch is considered as the first element of the power transmission system in the automobile. The main function of the clutch is to engage and disengage the engine to the transmission when the driver needs or during the shifting of the gears. Next point, very important in context of the clutch. When the clutch is in the engaged position, the power flows from the engine to the wheel, and when the clutch is in the disengaged position, the power is not transmitted. So this is a very important point to be remembered in context of the clutch. When the clutch is in the engaged position, the power flows from the engine to the wheel, while when it is in the disengaged position, the power is not transmitted. Now, let me show you the automobile transmission system. So the main components of any automobile transmission system includes the engine, which is having the flywheel. The flywheel is connected with the clutch. The clutch by means of the shaft is connected with the gearbox. The gearbox through the propeller shaft is further connected to the differential assembly, and finally to the drive shafts and the wheels of the automobile. The universal joints we have already discussed in the last lecture, the universal couplings. They are used on both the ends of the propeller shafts. So the clutch is basically in between the engine and the gearbox. In the normal condition, always the clutch is in the engaged position. So the engine power can easily be transmitted to the gearbox and finally to the wheels for the operation. And in the case when it is required for changing the gears, we are disengaging the clutch. Therefore, the speed of the engine, the power from the engine is regulated in the gearbox. So this is the simple understanding related to the automobile transmission system. Dear friends, let me inform you that these concepts are not given in your textbook, but in order to technically understand the clutch, the location of the clutch, it is very essential to remember these concepts. So let me know from the students now, is it clear to all? The location of the clutch and the concept of the automobile transmission system. How in the automobile the power is transmitted from the engine to the wheels. Okay, thank you friends for giving me the positive responses. Now let us proceed further and understand the next point of the clutch, that is the classification of clutches. The first classification of the clutch, that is of the mechanical type. In the mechanical type of the clutches, they are divided into two types. They are number one, the positive contact clutch, and second, that is the friction clutch. If we consider the positive contact clutch, in these clutches, the engagement and disengagement of the driver and the driven shafts takes place by the positive contact of the mechanical components. And the positive contact clutches are further subdivided into the jaw clutch and the tooth-head clutch. The second type of the mechanical clutches are the friction clutches. In the friction clutches, by means of the friction produced between the mechanical components, the operation of the clutch takes place. So on the basis of the type of the mechanical components through which the friction is produced, they are classified as the disc clutch, the cone clutch, and the centrifugal clutch. Also, the clutches are further divided into the pneumatic type, the hydraulic type, as well as the electromagnetic type. But friends, let me inform you that in your syllabus of basic mechanical engineering, only you need to study the mechanical type of the clutches. In the mechanical type, you need to study the jaw clutch, the disc clutch, cone clutch, and the centrifugal clutch. If you refer your textbook, only these four clutches are given for understanding. So now let us proceed further and understand the different types of the clutches. So first type and the simplest type, that is a jaw clutch. And jaw clutch is an example of the positive contact clutch. So this is the arrangement for the jaw clutch. Remember friends, during the examination, whenever you are writing down the answers for any type of the clutch, compulsory you need to draw the figure, and also you need to draw both the positions, that is the engaged position and the disengaged position. So I am repeating the point once again. Remember this point during the examination, whenever you are writing down the answers of the clutch, compulsory you need to draw both the figures, that is the engaged position and the disengaged position. So in the jaw clutch, the main components includes a fixed jaw, which is having the projection. You can see in the image. So this is the fixed jaw which will be having the projection. On the other side, you will be having the sliding jaw with the recess. The recess can be considered as the slot. So this is the sliding jaw in the design of the jaw clutch with the recess. The sliding jaw is connected to the driven shaft, and the fixed jaw is connected to the driving shaft. And also for the operation of the clutch, in the design there is the provision for the operating lever. So friends, if you understand the first image, that is the engaged position, you can see that both the jaws are engaged, contacted with one another. Therefore, the speed of the driving shaft can easily be transferred to the driven shaft, since the clutch is in the engaged position. Now in the case whenever we are operating the lever, applying the force on the lever, we are observing that the sliding jaw moves backward. It slides on the driven shaft. Because of this sliding movement, now the contact between both the jaws is broken. Therefore, in this case, that is the disengaged condition of the clutch, and now the no power will be transmitted further, because the driving shaft will be rotating only. It cannot transfer the power to the driven shaft, since both the jaws are in the disengaged condition. Dear students, let me know from your side, have you understood the basic understanding about the jaw clutch? It is an example of the positive contact clutch, because in this operation, by the positive contact of both the jaws, we are making the engagement and the disengagement of the clutch. So now friends, thank you all for sharing me your comments in the chat box. So let us proceed further and understand the next type of the clutch, that is the disc clutch. And let me inform you friends, in our automobiles, majority of the applications, we are using the disc clutch. The number of discs are increased in the disc clutch. So there are mainly two types of the disc clutch. They are the single disc clutch or the single plate clutch. And if the discs are more in the clutch, then it is known as the multi-disc clutch or the multi-plate clutch. If you remember the classification, the disc clutch is an example or the type of the friction clutch. So now let us understand the construction and working of the disc clutch. The main components that are the driving shaft, which is connected to the driving flange. On the other side, there is the driven flange, which is connected to the driven shaft. But on the driven shaft, the splines are provided. The function of the splines is for the sliding movement of the driven flange. And on the back side of the operating lever or the foot pedal, an elastic spring will be attached. As you can see in the image, there are two positions shown of the clutch. The first position, that is the engaged position, and the second one is the disengaged position. So in the normal conditions, in the normal operation, the clutch is always in the engaged position. Therefore, both the flanges, the driving and the driven flange, are in contact. The friction will be developed between both the flanges, and the power can easily be transmitted from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. But now, according to the requirement of the driver, whenever the driver operates the foot pedal or applies the force on the foot pedal, applying the force, the driven flange will be moving in the backward direction. I am repeating once again, on applying the force on the foot pedal, the driven flange will be moving in the backward direction, as you can see in the below image. Now, as the driven flange has moved in the backward direction, the contact between both the flanges have been broken. Since the contact has been broken, now the power cannot be transmitted from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. And as the driven flange has moved in the backward direction, this spring which is provided will undergo the compression. Now, when the driver releases the load from the foot pedal, this compressed spring will again move back to its original position, and now both the flanges will be again come in contact with each other, and by the friction produced, now the clutch is in the engaged position, and thus we can easily transmit the power from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. So if there is the requirement of the more power transmission, then in some of the automobiles we are using the multi-disc clutch. Here in the image there is only one disc is provided, but in the multi-disc clutch many discs will be provided in order to increase the friction and thus increase the power transmission. So friends, I am repeating once again, whenever you are asked in the examination the clutch, then it is very necessary, it is compulsory to draw the engaged position and the disengaged position. All the concepts remain the same. In the engaged, you must show the contact between the two discs, and in the disengaged position, by operating the lever, you must highlight some space, some gap between the two discs. So considering both the figures, you can easily explain the working of the disc clutch. Dear students, now let me know from your side Have you all perfectly understood the disc clutch? It is also known as the plate clutch. Have you all understood the concept of the disc clutch? Okay, thank you for sharing your positive responses. Now, friends, let us proceed further and understand the second type of the friction clutch, that is the cone clutch. The working principle will remain the same, only the change will be in the design of the mechanical components undergoing the friction. In the disc clutch, two discs were used for providing the friction. In the cone clutch, now there will be two cones. By the friction between the two cones, the power will be transmitted from one cone to the another. You can see that the driving shaft is connected to the driving conical cone, and the another shaft, that is the driven shaft having the splines on it, is connected to the driven conical cone. Other components remain the same: the operating lever, the foot pedal, the spring, elastic spring, the splines. Again, as you can observe in the image, two positions are shown: the engaged position and the disengaged position. So in the engaged position, you can see that both the cones are in contact with one another. So because of this contact, the friction will be developed between the two cones, and now the power can be easily transmitted from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. When the driver operates the foot pedal, you can observe in the below image, the driven conical cone will be moving in the backward direction. When the driver operates the foot pedal, the driven conical cone will be moving in the backward direction. So with this movement of the driven cone, now the contact between both the cones will be disturbed. As you can see that in the below image, there is some gap which is provided or which is developed between the two cones. So now, since there is the gap, there is no contact, there is no friction, so there is no power transmission. Hence, this condition of the clutch is known as the disengaged position. And now when the driver releases the force from the foot pedal, the elastic spring will again come back to its original position. Both the cones will come in contact with one another. The friction will be developed, and now the power can easily be transmitted from one shaft to the another shaft. Dear students, cone clutch, very easy to understand if the concept is clear related to the disc clutch. Only the minor modification will be in the disc clutch. We are having the two discs connected with the two shafts. Whereas in the cone clutch, we are having the two conical cones connected with the two shafts individually. So now let me know from your side, is the concept clear related to the cone clutch? Have you all understood the operation of the cone clutch? Okay, thank you friends for sharing again the positive response. Now let us proceed further and understand the last type of the mechanical clutch, the friction clutch, that is the centrifugal clutch. From the name only, now we can understand the centrifugal clutch will be operating on the effects of the centrifugal force. Remember friends, the centrifugal clutch is mainly used in the automatic transmission. The vehicles having the automatic transmission where there is no need for operating the clutch manually. There is the automatic transmission. In those automobiles, we are using the centrifugal clutch. Let us understand the construction and working of the centrifugal clutch. The main components, that is the driving shaft and the driven shaft. The driving shaft is connected to the spider, as you can see in the image. This is the centermost shaft, that is the driving shaft, which is further connected to the spider. With the spider, the shoes are connected. The bottommost part of the shoes will be having the elastic spring, and the upper surface of the shoe will be having the liner or the friction material. I am repeating once again, in the spider, the shoes will be provided. The bottom side of the shoes will be having the spring arrangement, and on the top side of the shoe there will be the liner or the friction material. And the outer drum is connected, the outer construction is connected to the driven shaft. The outer drum is also known as the rim of the pulley or the driven member. So friends, now let us understand the working of the centrifugal clutch. In the centrifugal clutch, when we are increasing the speed of the engine, the driving shaft will be rotating at the higher RPM. Because of this higher RPM of the driving shaft, the spider will also be rotated at the higher RPM. This higher RPM will result into the development of the centrifugal force, and because of this centrifugal force, the shoe provided on the spider, they will be moving in the outward direction. This is an important point in the working. So I am repeating this point once again. Kindly focus on my words. When we are increasing the speed of the engine, the speed of the driving shaft increases. Because of this increasing speed of the driving shaft, the spider will also be rotated at the higher RPM, higher speeds. Because of this high speed, now the centrifugal force will be generated, and because of this centrifugal force, the shoes will be moving in the outward direction. As the shoes are moving in the outward direction, at one point the liner of the shoes will come in contact with the outer rim. This liner and the rim will come in contact with one another. The friction will be developed, and now by the rotation of the shoes, the pulley will be rotated. The driven member will be rotated, and finally the driven shaft will be rotated, and thus the power can be transmitted to the output parameter. Dear students, let me know from your side, have you all understood the centrifugal clutch working up till this point? Is the concept clear to all? Up till this point, I have completed half the working of the centrifugal clutch. Let me know from your side, is it clear to all? The working of the centrifugal clutch. Okay, so now we have reached the point that the driving shaft is rotated at the higher RPM and the power is transmitted to the driven shaft. Now the driven shaft is also rotating at the higher speeds. But now remember, in the next case, when we are reducing the speed of the engine, the driving shaft will be rotated at the smaller RPM. The spider will be rotated at less speed. Because of this less speed, less centrifugal force will be developed. And this centrifugal force will be lesser than the spring force. So now the spring, which is extended, elongated, will be moving back to its original position. By the movement of the spring in its normal condition, now the shoe will be returning back to its original position. That is, the inward movement of the shoes will be taking place. Because of this inward movement of the shoes, now the contact between the shoe and the liner will be broken. Because of this broken contact, now the power cannot be transmitted to the driven shaft, the outer driven member. So, moving further, the speed of the driven member will be reduced gradually. So, this is how, when we are reducing the speed of the driving shaft, simultaneously the speed of the driven member also reduces. And when we increase the speed of the driving shaft, the speed of the driven member also increases. And the operation of this clutch takes place by the centrifugal force which is generated inside the clutch assembly. And I am repeating once again, the centrifugal clutch is not manually operated because you cannot see any pedal in the design of the centrifugal clutch. So the centrifugal clutch is always used for the automatic transmission. So friends, with this, I am completing the session, that is the discussion related to the clutches. I hope you have understood the points which are discussed in this session. Thanks for watching the current session. Have a nice day. So friends, we have completed the two parts of this unit, the couplings and the clutches. In my next lecture, we will be discussing the third part, that is the brakes. Now, dear friends, if you are having any questions from your side, you can ask me in the chat box. Any question from any student related to the topics discussed in the current session?